Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Women Unscripted on Primetime. Now, I know you guys have been waiting for us to get back, and it's finally happened, and this is episode 201. Yay for that, right?
201.
Yes. So welcome. This is so great. I mean, to see you guys again.
It is.
And being back in the new studio right here at Gulfview Square Mall.
And this studio is huge.
I know.
Massive. And John and the guys have done such a great job with it.
I know. It's really the best
Fabulous.
of the best.
Absolutely fabulous.
I posted some of it on Facebook, so you can see all the pictures from Nerd Talk and everything. So
It is.
So why don't we do something a little bit different, because I know we have tons of new viewers out there. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marville-Kelly, and we started this show.
I mean, one of the hosts. You are the host.
We are all
You're
on the
the
same
hostess with
equal
the most
ground,
same
girls.
But you are definitely the hostess with the most.
This is Barb.
I just follow the map, that's all. So, Tinkerbella, also known as Helena Trangata.
Yes.
Or we could call her Mother Halisa, possibly.
That's a new one.
And then Maura for you, Maura Sweeney. And we also have wonderful Shar, amazing women. All these women are the originators of Women Unscripted. This was organically conceived, and that was at your women meeting.
Yeah, one of the Success Network breakfasts.
Yes,
It
yes.
was fantastic when it just kind of emerged from, I think it was you, Maura, wasn't it? You were the one that
weren't we
actually
We were
said
both
it.
speaking.
Yeah.
You spoke,
She
then I
had-
spoke,
Yes.
and then we were talking together, and I said, Barbara, you are just such an unscripted
That's
woman. And she
right.
said, that's it.
She had no idea.
Yay. Because it just kind of comes right out of your mouth, and it's fresh and new and fun, and and they were just, that's what started it.
And I didn't even think any further, so I was thinking about what we're going to call this women's show. I got to get that down pat, right? And of course, you had to be part of it because we become good friends over the years. And we just all have stories to share with you having us speak at your breakfast with your amazing women that you've had for many, many years. And
12 years.
yeah, and being a life coach and certification. We're all life coaches here.
Yes.
Helena, I mean, I would need days to talk about what this woman is doing in the neighborhood with rocking the babies and, you know, everything that you do. And of course,
sweet.
our relationship and where we've come today was through, I know I'm going to go there. I think it was on 12/12/12, but I'm not sure, where I had a gathering called Take Back Your Energy, Take Back Your Power, Take Back Your Life. And Helena came, and I didn't even know you very well.
No, we were going to a networking breakfast there, or lunch there in your community. And she invited me to this thing at her house. I thought, well, that's really nice. But I've got a meeting the next day. I don't know that I could go. And she encouraged me to come to this meeting, and it changed my life. I'll put it that way. It changed my life.
And so the classic question, which I will ask you today, that I asked Helena, along with these other women, I call them the 12 women disciples, because I tell you, it was a mind-blowing experience. And I just put the question out there and said, if you had everything you ever needed, all the money in the world, you have a great home, up-to-date car, lots of money in the bank, would you be doing what you're doing right now? And I just sat back. Well, 3 women got up and went into the other room in tears, right? You left the house in tears, didn't you?
I did.
And what happened that night? This is powerful because, you know what? The timing is now, and if not now, when? And if not us, who?
Exactly.
Wow, that was together. So how did you feel that night? What changed? How many years? It's been at least 10 years.
It's been at least 10 years, and it was just powerful because of hearing. So I was kind of at the end of the circle, and so I heard all these people talking. There were tears, there were hugs, there were this, there were that. I was determined I was not going to cry. I was determined I was not going to go into a big long story. And so I just listened, and I was like, I have got a meeting in the morning. I have got to get my butt out of this chair and leave. And so I listened to everybody, and I said thank you and goodbye. And then I got in the car, and the tears started just gushing. And our friend Alice Delgado had been invited to the same meeting, but she had been, I think she actually was doing a wedding that night. And I called her, and I'm crying, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. She goes, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Something just happened. I don't even know what, and I don't know what to do with it. And I went home, and then I had this meeting the next day, a big meeting on a boat over there in Tampa. You know, it was a big thing. And I wrote her a note. I think I wrote you an email. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think I said kind of the same thing. I don't know what just happened, but I know it was powerful. And I know that greater things are here for us.
That's right.
For me, particularly, because I didn't know we weren't a team back then like we are now, you know. But I knew that something was going to change big in my life, and I didn't know what it was. And we were talking about the coaching process and taking this coaching, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take that coaching. Did I think I was going to become a life coach? No, I did not think that. I didn't know what. I just didn't know how to get there, but I had to step out in faith. And I think this is really what we're doing today.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it is a time for all of us.
That's right.
Not just us, but all of us,
right,
everybody, every one of you to step out in faith. Because if not, we give in to the fear.
That's right. That's right.
And this is so needed for us to all encourage each other to step out in faith right now.
And I think, too, that there's something magical with women getting together. But encouraging each other to open up and really, you know, give to yourself what your story is or how to help somebody or to just raise them with inspiration. And you're right, because it is, especially now, a time where we're trying to move from the faith, from the fear to the faith. Because if we don't go within ourselves to try to find answers, or we don't allow ourselves to share it with our friends that we trust, it has to be people who can inspire.
Yes.
So sometimes our background or our history, you know, we have a reference where a lot of the young people don't have that reference, so we can serve as inspiration.
Absolutely. And I'm so thankful that John made that call to me one day. Hey, what are you doing these days? I've got something perfect for you. Long story short, we ended up with this platform. So I love to be back in the studio, beautiful studio here, to use this as a platform for you to tune in on the last Monday of the month and really tune into the girls, because we all have something to share with you. And even before we became Women Unscripted organically through your breakfast, and we all just hooked up.
So much is organic. I mean,
Really,
really.
It is.
True.
How about divinely led?
Yes, it was
divinely led.
And kind of met
Yeah.
forward. This is even earlier.
But we all have had these mindsets, and since the last couple of years, we've taken it to a deeper level and a higher sense of consciousness, to where we want to believe that nothing is going to rock our boat, but even plumbers have leaky pipes, and you've heard me say that before. We're all certified life coaches, speakers, motivational, inspirational, you name it. We've all been doing that. But you know what? We're taking it to another level
That's
now.
right.
There are so many people hurting that just doesn't know what to do, which way to go, what to believe, who to believe. Don't watch the news.
Right.
Do not.
Or at least have the tools, or share the tools that we know that work.
Right.
To help each other
Can I
through
just
it.
enlarge upon that a minute? And I think you were going to say
Yeah.
something.
Oh, I'm always ready to say something.
Because those facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, faith without works is dead, and we know this, right? We've read it in the Bible. We know this. But so, yes, step into faith, but we have to step out of our faith. We have to step into the works of our faith. Because it's all good to be some, you know, guru sitting on a mountain and, you know, oh yeah, I'm getting it all. But we now more than ever, I think, have to step into our faith and show other people what the works are about, what the works of our faith is about.
That's what God wants.
Do you agree?
That's what makes God happy.
Use those tools that are in our toolbox, because we all have them.
Yes.
We all have some tools in our toolbox, and I don't care what it is. I mean, we could go around and name our tools, right? We all have them, but are we using them?
Yes.
When I recently had a little setback, health-wise, challenge-wise, I was laying in bed, and I was like, when people were like emailing me and texting me and saying, use this, use that, do this, do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I hurt too much. And so I've got the tools. I've got the oils that's going to help my wrist. I've got the, God's word that I can read, and I've got friends that I can talk to. But you've got to take that step, even if you're hurting, right?
Yes.
Somebody else here just had some pain and some discomfort.
My broken ankle.
And you have to step
surgery.
into that, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I just found new
that?
ways around it. What?
What is with
the
that?
ankles?
Your foot,
Three?
my leg,
We're not
your
talking
ankle,
my hip.
and you and your
You've got a hip, but I was
thing
saying
going
no
on.
ankle for you.
It all has to do with walking forward.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Think about
Wow.
that. The emotional
Yes.
isn't.
That's right.
Boy.
Well, we ought to be in great shape next year, right?
That's right.
Get
We're
this
gonna
all
be-
behind us.
We
Can I
are.
step back
Finish.
in time?
I'm sorry, because
No,
I interrupted
I don't.
you.
No, you didn't. I didn't even say anything. But I'm always ready. But you had brought up how we all met, and you were talking about how you met up with Helene. Now, how many years ago was this when that question came out?
We
It's gotta
figured
be
today at
least
11 or 12.
You could have
Okay.
been, because I used 12, 12, 12. It might have been in 2012, and that was the day I lost my mother-in-law that day. Nobody knew.
Okay. You talked about the question you asked. Let everybody hear the question again, Barbara.
So the question that I asked was, if you had all the money in the world that you needed, you don't have a care in the world, your health is good, your mind is sharp, you've got a home, it's paid for, yeah, you have all of that, which I think is considered the American dream or whatever. But would you be doing what you're doing now?
Right.
Are you still working? Are you doing any kind of missionary work or whatever? Are you stepping out in faith? What would you be doing what you're doing right now, in business especially?
Now, when you said that question earlier, here's what I heard. I heard the word truth, and this is why the women were all getting upset, yourself included. You were in an environment where you were asking a question that pierced right through everybody's veneer. Everything we've always been told we should be, we followed suit, this is what the plan is, I'm in it. And when you ask that question, especially probably in the midst of those women who were maybe desiring truth, it cut through, and people are like, this isn't at all what I want to do. I don't even know what it is, because maybe I never asked myself, maybe I never went in. That's what was going on years ago. And I could tell you my own life, I was a homeschooling mom, working part-time with my husband. I was absolutely invisible. Every time people saw me, I was walking two big dogs around the neighborhood. And I mean, massive dogs. I was cleaning the house. I was unseen, and I was very happy that way. But I started having dreams. And I mean, some of these dreams were actually frightening, as in they put the fear of God in me, because it was like, you're going to step out. And I was comfortable being the quiet servant, but it was, you're going to get out, and you're going to get out with your face, your name.
The voice.
And so this goes back to,
Yes.
exactly, the voice.
Yes.
So it goes back to when you were saying, I forgot what you were saying, but whatever it was, it related. Oh, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do, or it's putting feet to your faith. Because I always knew I was called to something. So here, let's go back to 2012 and what the world was like back then. And we knew it was changing. But now we were some of the forerunners that just
Excellent.
took
Yes.
and started
Yes.
doing it.
Yes.
And we really had to step out in faith. So it was almost like we were creating or pioneering a way so that other people could say, oh, hey, you're doing something? It's not exactly what I want to do. Will you show me the way? And the way is really being true to ourselves. See the word true or truth? What are your skills? What are your interests? What are your passions? What have you been called to do? I've been doing it. You can do it too. I've stumbled. I've fallen, but I'm still here. And it's that strength that helps other people continue onward and come out of some of the hiding places that over decades maybe they've been into as a false identification and a false identity.
That's right. I call it emotional prison.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
It's emotional
It is.
prison, and if you don't know how to get out of it, it's rough. It's really rough, and some people never do.
And yeah, because
Yeah.
we follow. We've been taught that we
Yeah.
need to
Yes.
follow. You know, schools early on.
Not you.
You know,
Not
But-
you. You just
well,
said
not
you
me.
were a rebel.
I was a rebel.
All right.
In
So you
fact,
were not a follower. Let's
No,
talk
I
about
was,
that.
I was a seeker early
I
on.
was
I was
too.
curious as a child. I was a seeker, and I read books I probably shouldn't have been reading. 'Cause I went to Catholic school, but I wanted to know. I wanted to know what else was out there. And, you're right. I wasn't really following. But, but if you don't follow the rules, and sometimes, it's like this. So to be a good servant or to be a good child or whatever, we were restrained. And now I think with the whole COVID, let's just, in a big way, that we had a lot of uncertainty.
And still do.
And we still do. And I think that set people in a tailspin because
did.
things we were used to doing weren't working anymore.
Right.
And that's caused us to go in.
That is so
I think.
true. And I'll be the first one to admit, and Helena and I, we've had umpteen, probably thousands of calls or even mini discussions. And actually we've gotten to the point where our rule in coaching is 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to get in and out of that thought. Otherwise, it's 5 to 6 hours of bad chemicals being put right
There you
into
go.
your bloodstream. And we've talked about this
Very
to
true.
ad nauseum. And even with my husband, I say, Kelly, I don't know what to do with all this. You don't know who to believe here, who to believe there.
Yeah.
And so my peace comes from prayer and from God. And stepping out in faith and knowing that it's all going to be okay. And guess what? It is okay for us so far, right?
Or even having the tool, which is flip that thought. So when you recognize that we're going down, the rabbit hole with negativity or even someone else's negativity, we can switch that energy, which does switch the brain chemistry.
It does.
And it makes us feel better when we do that.
Yeah, it does
You
make
know.
us feel better because when you change that frequency, Kelly talks about that all the time on our Monday shows, Prime Time, and validates it with Heart Math Institute, so you can change that.
Yes.
And I can actually feel it come over me. Don't you,
Oh, yeah.
It's like a wave.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's like, stop thinking like that. Stop talking like that. And it's easy to get caught up, even though, all of us are very positive, but we do have our moments
Yes.
of reality, unfortunately, but if you've got the skill sets. And that's why we like to use this platform, really and truly.
But can we just say that for a minute to our audience, particularly because we did say this before we went on the air, is if you feel like you were the only one that was down on yourself, if you feel like you were the only one that maybe had some negative chemistry in your house, forgive yourself. Because you know what? Every one of us had it. Everybody had
right.
it. And if someone tells you they didn't have it, you know what? No. No. It's
believe
not
it.
true. Don't believe it. Tell them to go take a lie detector test because I don't believe it. Everyone has had these
Yes.
challenges. And then we're talking about ways that we can do it, but we don't want you to think that we're like sitting up here going, hey girl, everything's wonderful. We're not saying that at all.
And I'm
We're
glad
just
that you
saying that
mentioned
there's
that.
choices
Yes.
that we
Yeah.
all
The
have.
choice-
The
right,
choice is to change that nasty thinking. I've had times, COVID or no COVID, that we all have those bad days and bad times and like, well, why me and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter because the fact is, I get up the next morning and my little thing that I do besides being grateful and saying thank you God every morning is I got to keep on keeping on.
That's right.
Yes.
I got to keep on keeping on. And that does not mean I can sit still. Keep on keeping on means you're moving, right? And whether you've got a bad fall and you're hurting or an ankle or a hip or whatever, every one of us here has kept keeping on.
And you know what, to that point, interestingly enough, and I'm sorry that you did that with your ankle and
I'm
everything.
good.
I know you're
good.
good now, but it's...
Oh, even during,
But you-
I made the best out
See,
of it.
that's what you
and-
do. When I went down on the floor, and you were over that night, you and your husband with the walker, right?
That's right.
And the girls
I'm
are
not
asking
gonna
me
need
what...
it.
I tell you, they were all
Thank
asking...
goodness you had the grandma stuff.
I tell you.
It works. It helps.
I would have broken my neck if I would have
Yeah.
used those crutches. But the girls were all saying, well, are you going to bling that out? Are you kidding me? I'm not taking ownership of this. All I did was laugh for 3 weeks, and I think I was in shock for 3 weeks. I was down and out with the foot up like this.
Yes.
And poor Kelly with a little bit of the Parkinson's tremors. He's trying to serve coffee,
Yes.
and he's making a trail all the way into the living room. Oh, it was fun.
And your little doggies didn't know what to do.
And the
They were
little-
like your little nurses
They,
right there.
they hopped on top of my, I showed those
They were
pictures on
trying to
Facebook.
heal you.
But you know what I noticed the most is when that happens to you,
Yes.
what do you have to do? Nothing. You have to sit and deal with it. So you have the choices. to sit and feel sorry for yourself and, oh, what am I going to do now, or whatever. I got news for you. I still wasn't walking, and underneath the baseboard in my kitchen needed painting. Well, guess what? I almost turned myself upside down painting that sucker because I was determined to get the thing done because I couldn't stand looking at it anymore.
I did the same thing with
Of
my
course you
broken
did.
ankle. I was scooting around for like 12, I don't know how many weeks it was, 7
You had a
weeks
new
on my butt.
perspective.
Wait a minute.
Because you had a
I
new
said to my husband, look, I am not going to look underneath this furniture anymore and see all this dust. You better bring me the mini vac. He said to me, what's the matter with you? I got dust in places in our house I didn't know existed.
Didn't that feel good?
And you know what? And yes, it did. But the other thing I did now, I don't know if people think of this, and maybe call me odd, but I had not only the broken ankle, but then after that I was out for 2 weeks, and I got the okay. I could walk around like a regular person without anything on. And what do I get? I get COVID, where I spend over 3 weeks in bed.
Oh, my goodness.
But you know what I said? This is funny. I said, I'm so grateful I got this. I took the time where had to have my leg up, and I thought, somebody told me almost 18 years ago I needed to stop because I had a worker mentality.
Yeah.
The list.
The drive.
And I used that time to learn new things. I
make a
I
bigger
did
list.
so much. I did. That was me. And then,
That's right.
but I was always doing. And then after that, I'm all excited. I'm out. And then what happens? I go to some public place. I get COVID, and I mean, I was
down.
delirious with it. But after it was over, I said, I am so glad I had COVID. Now I have the antibodies. But beyond that, this is something maybe anybody who's listening today to get a different viewpoint. Whenever I've had things in my life that didn't go right, maybe we all have these visions from watching movies of what we think is the perfect life. I've always thanked God that in those moments he would allow me to step into the places that other people have been in that maybe I never experienced before, that were those hard places.
Yes.
So now I get to relate to people better.
Yes.
I can respond to and have empathy for things they're going through. And then at the
Exactly.
end of, it actually came out of my mouth, I'm so happy I had COVID. Well, I was so sick as a dog, but I'm so glad I had it. Now I don't have to talk about something secondhand. I've been there. I've been there where I couldn't walk. I've been there where my husband had to help me shower because I had, rods inside of me. I couldn't get anywhere. I felt so vulnerable where
Yes.
before I like to do things on my own.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
all of these things that we
Yes.
think, oh, I'm all that, or I think I could do it myself, and you find yourself in a different place. You can find a way to be happy for it or to be thankful for it.
It's a choice.
And what
It's
else?
always a choice, and I could be a victim or a beneficiary.
Yes, and doesn't it seem to take something that's going to stop us? I mean,
To cause us
otherwise we kind of overcome and we keep going, like you were saying, and keep on keeping on. To really stop and take time in our life where we want to do something else or
And
explore something else.
I totally
we don't
agree.
do it all the
I
time.
totally agree. I have this thing where I think to myself, if I'm going and going and going, and I just think of God saying to me, do I need to come down there?
Yeah.
And that's about it. And he pulls the rug out from under you. Every one of us have had the rug pulled out. Yeah, we're all goers. We're all doers. We're busy. We love life. We celebrate life every day. And, that's what our show is all about today is, how to take back our energy, take back our power. We have God's power in every single one of us. And I'm not talking about turning this show into a Sunday go-to meeting, but if that applies to you, then that's exactly what it is. Because, I don't know what I would do without God in my life.
Well,
and
our
having
higher
that.
self. Just the higher self.
Yes.
Going towards, where we need more inner strength or
Yes.
we need
Yes.
guidance.
Or wisdom.
Or
right?
wisdom and guidance. But if we don't look into the idea, look at humanity at large right now.
Oh, absolutely,
We're
Sharon.
all experiencing this.
Worldwide.
And we're not quite out of it yet. So it is about looking for a better day or higher thoughts or positivity. Otherwise, we can get our own self down. So we have to know how to get our own self up.
I know, because nobody's going to do it for you.
That's right.
They can be there to
That's right.
serve our coffee or help us in the shower. But the bottom line is, and as they say at the end of the day, who is looking back at you in the mirror? It's ourselves. And that's where it starts, and like you say, a higher self, a higher consciousness level, God, whatever you want to call it, it's there. We were born with that
Right.
inside of us. It's
Right.
there.
But we're not taught that way. The world teaches us to watch TV,
Yeah.
see what's going on
Outside.
social media, find out what today we need to be offended by or fearful of, correct?
Exactly.
Or who we're not supposed to like. But what if we turn that off for a while, and even if we spend a few minutes every day, quietude, gratitude, keeping a journal, maybe for mostly a women's audience, just say, what is it that I'm not paying attention to that I need to look at now? Or what's right in front of my face that I've been ignoring?
Because what I said, can I just go
Yes,
into that?
anything
So
you want.
for me, my own self is, I find that if I don't listen, number one, I think God taps me on the shoulder. This is my own thing, this is my God and this is what I feel. He taps me on the shoulder and he'll say, like, give me an idea or something. And it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, but, and it often is. But many times by, the next hour, I'm like, oh, yeah, nah, not going to do that. And so he taps a little again. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And so I always say that God has to knock me over the head with a 2x4 to get me to listen.
We all feel like
because
this.
the fact is, this has been my thing. It's like I just don't get it, and because I don't allow myself to. Sometimes I don't allow myself because I don't think I'm capable, right? I don't think I have that skill. I don't think I have that knowledge.
Gee, I wonder where that came from.
I wonder.
Hello.
I wonder. But God says to me, I do. He says, you do. You've got to take that step in that direction. And it's proven to me over and over again in my life. And that's the benefit, young ladies, of of us getting older, because we've been there, done that.
This pastor that, Pastor Scott yesterday on the service was amazing. I started to say that earlier, but I'll make this really quick. But he was painting a picture for, some of us that will lay out the list, okay? We're going to pray first, okay, cross that off. And then we're going to have breakfast. Then we're going to go into our day of work and cross that off. Then it's lunch, and then it's this. God is crossed off. That was so powerful for me. And I find that my most peace comes as I add more thoughts of gratefulness and prayer, and hold me by your right hand, God. Help me. I need patience. And I do it out in public when my kids are driving me nuts about some stupid thing or whatever, even to this day. And I will say, dear Lord, sweet Jesus, I need patience right now. And I do. I have to do that. And I get it. I get it.
Yes.
So let's not put God on the list wherever God is, and don't cross him off. That's just my thing with my God.
Well, I want to add to that, and add to what you just said about, God will tap you on the shoulder. And
I
for
love that.
everybody's listening, as you had said, it could be your higher self, it could be spirit. People know. People know where they're getting
do
things.
know.
And you could get the tap. Do you know what I realized? Sometimes if I'll hear the same thing 3 times, I may hear something like,
Yeah.
and it may be something I'm supposed to learn about or pursue, but not so much in I want you to obey, but it's something that's outside of my scope of thoughts. And I'll hear something, and then somebody will tell me something, and then I'll hear it a 3rd time. That's my thing. You hear the same thing like 3 times, like, bingo, I need to start focusing in on this. So that's one of
I
them.
do the same.
And the other thing, too, Barbara, from what you're saying, we are used to partitioning everything.
Yes.
And I remember back in the days, people worked from 8 until 5 or 9 until 9 to 5. They had a specific title in the old corporations, right?
Right.
We don't live that way anymore. But yet many of us still have those boxes in our lives.
Sure.
Where we are today, the boxes are gone. The corporate structures are gone. People are working out of their house. They're going to school out of their own house, looking on Zoom.
Right.
And so think about this now in terms of truth. Starting at the beginning, when you said you asked the question, you started crying, are you really doing what you want? We are now being invited during this era of confusion and dissimulation. We're all being invited to connect with God, our higher self, our spirit, what lives and literally lives inside of our soul, and to invite it for every aspect of our life. So from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, whatever we're doing, we're listening, we're paying attention, we're asking for guidance. And then what do we have? We have now the end of the old world and the beginning
That's
of the
exactly
new. And the
right.
new really is when, instead of our being dissociated from our true self, or who we're really supposed to be, we're now in harmony with it. And here's the other thing, too, is if we can learn to follow that small voice within us or the guidance within us, and if we could remember to choose the right attitude. You know, you're saying with Heart and F, you feel the change in attitude, and it's an energy. But not only does it help us, do you know what it does to everybody else in the room?
It
Have
changes
you
it.
ever been
Yes.
around somebody, let's say you're the one who doesn't feel well. You're not feeling great, you're downing yourself, and you walk into a room and suddenly you run into someone who's got a completely different spirit about them, a different energy, and all of a sudden you forget what you used to feel like because it's that powerful. So if we're going to talk about taking back our power, we all need to take back our power, because when we decide we can be beneficiaries instead of victims, we can be on a higher frequency instead of a low, then what we do is we change the dynamics and the energy around us, and then other people pick up on it, and then they think, now they're in a new frequency. It's like, I like it here.
That's right.
I used to do that in my corporate management days, and people would just rise up.
Well,
That's right.
No, I was going to say how people feel that they're supposed to be
A certain
like
way.
something, or
Yeah.
that they look out into the outside world.
Yes.
You know, I need to have this accomplishment
Right.
to be important, and they really don't feel their own self-worth. Because they're always trying to achieve something or be competitive with someone else. So when we stop and we go more within, not without, but then we can see who we're really about, our authenticity and our true self. But that's what the power is. The
It
power
is.
of self
It is.
who do I decide I want to be? Who am I becoming? When we say not who am I is very defensive. It can be going back in the past. But when I say who am I becoming, I just stepped into my personal power.
It feels so
I,
good.
I can become whoever I want.
That's right.
Right.
And you can believe
But I think
Yeah.
that where I was in this particular case that I'm talking about, I was reading the prayer of Jabez, and so that's when I got the little tap. And at that time, I was coaching premarital couples, and Alice, our friend Alice, was performing wedding ceremonies. The tap I got was, "You need to become ordained," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." I was like, "God, are you talking to me? Because I'm the sinner here. I don't think that you're talking to me. You must be talking to somebody else." And I couldn't see myself. Becoming ordained. That was the thing. I couldn't see that. But the more he tapped, the more I did it.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was like Never Never Land.
Yeah.
I couldn't go there because I couldn't even see the path to there. Do you understand?
I
There's
do.
the-
I do.
Ask you a question
There's
about
the
that.
faith.
Yes.
To
Yes.
step out into the path that God's showing me when I did not know that that was my path.
But here's another thing that
Believing.
is really very important, because you and we've talked about this on the show to ad nauseum, but a lot of that has to do with what we believe in ourselves, and I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus here. However, if you're told that you aren't good enough, or you don't have what it takes to achieve, or you can't do this and you can't do that, rather than you can do this and put your mind to it and move yourself forward, you are all that. You have it all. Because I know Helena and I, we grew up similarly, and maybe you did too back in the 60s,
Oh, I was raised in a church that women never were to be part of the pulpit.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even the right sex to be ordained.
See?
You know what I'm
so
saying?
So you weren't good enough. Darn it. Right?
You were inherently flawed
That's right.
or deficient.
So when it
And
came
even
to
though
that,
in my mind I believed that I believed that women had every right to be in the pulpit. I had gone to a church for years where there had been a woman in the pulpit, and I wasn't going to be in a pulpit anyway. But it was just the idea of getting ordained, and we all know that's very easy now. So it wasn't about like I was going to go to seminary school and all that. But I just couldn't see myself even on that path, much less actually accomplishing it. So the not good enough certainly came in, but it was almost like, well, for me, it was like sinners don't become ordained. See what I'm saying? It was like, it was more than not good enough. It was like I was the bad girl, almost. It was like, if you're a sinner, you
But see
can't
how that
become
changed
ordained.
you?
No, but
You went through it. So
Yeah.
you took that walk and went through it. Now look backwards and tell everybody, as a result of taking that step, how your mind has changed.
And you
because
were
I think
yes.
that's what viewers
Yes.
can
Yeah.
benefit
well,
by
and I
today.
think too, that it was like, well, yeah, okay, God, you were right. It was like,
As always.
you were right as always. But the other thing was, it strengthened my belief. It strengthened my belief in the fact that when I do get the taps, obviously,
You listen.
I may not know how I'm going to get to that. I don't know how to get down the path. I don't even see the path. In that case, I didn't even see the path. And there again, that walking out in faith for me was like, okay, if that's what you say, then I guess I'll do it, even though it may not feel comfortable. And it became comfortable to me. But the other part of it was for me, it was you were right. You were right, and I felt closer, and I feel closer.
Or you
I
get
felt closer because of that.
Yeah.
What was the word you used?
You get confirmation.
Yeah.
As a
It
result
shows-
of the
path
doing.
is shown
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
And
you
so
know,
the
in that way.
stress of not
Yeah.
doing, the stress of like fighting it, that was gone
Yeah.
because I
You were
did
on the
it.
other
The
side.
belief
Yeah.
came in.
And
Yeah.
from the experience, and you broke down a lot of the mental barriers that you were wearing and living
Yes.
in as a result of the doing. And I had two things in my life that happened that way. I mentioned the one thing, I was the quiet lady. I mean, I'm telling you, I could have had no name for those years that I was at home homeschooling my daughter. Literally, I was the lady with the two big dogs. And I was always cleaning up slobber and other things. and I was very happy
Well, we're
in
fitting
that
into
position.
roles. Like we're into the roles that we think we need to play.
But I
Yeah.
was happy there. And I'm telling you, dreams I had one where I was literally thrown out of the closet. Thrown out of the closet and into light. And so I know what that's like. It's like, wait a minute, you're going to do something that's the opposite of who you believe you are. And I think all my life I was a hider. I would wear turtleneck shirts. I mean, I was one of those. I always did things. I was very dutiful. But all of a sudden,
What a horrible word.
it is. But I was picked up a lot of duty on
ban
this.
that word?
I know, it was awful.
Beautiful.
But imagine all of a sudden I'm going to start doing blogs, putting my name on it with no corporation behind me. I was sharing things on videos.
The dog walker.
The dog walker. No, this is when I came
The
out with my own
dutiful
name.
dog walker.
The dutiful dog
Oh
walker.
my gosh, that would have been a good one.
That's a good
But
dog.
it forced me to actually say,
That's it.
people are going to see you inside of something, and it's going to be you, where you're so comfortable being the person on the sidelines, building up everybody else. I did this in my corporate career, built up everybody, trained managers, but you're going to be the center. It was so uncomfortable, but I was afraid not to do it. So there I am, guest speaker or whatever I am there. But here's another thing, and maybe people that are listening today could even tune into this. It was the going through it that helped me experience it, that I was doing what I was meant to do. And then now I'm very comfortable. But I want to give one other story, totally different. It'll be quick. I always wanted to dance. Could never dance. You knew this story, Barbara. I had a daughter who said, Mom, you're going to sign up for dance classes. And I was 50. And I'm thinking, I couldn't dance when I was 5. I wasn't allowed to dance. And here I was at 50, and I enrolled in St. Pete College to dance. And here's the thing. She said, Mom, it's going to make you happy if you do it. It's what's part of who you are on the inside, but you never did it. Do you want to know? People didn't laugh with me. They laughed at me in class. I didn't fail once. I failed that class. I almost destroyed an on-stage performance. But when it was all over, I learned how to dance, even though I cried along the way like I can't believe how dumb I am. I had to recruit everybody. I wrote a book about it. So the reason why, in part, I asked you that question, whoever is listening today about taking back your power, what are some of those things in your life that you have either a passion for or a desire for that you've never acted upon? It's never too late, and it doesn't have to be exactly as you might have imagined. Maybe you don't even know how it's going to play out.
You
But
don't
if
need to know.
Right.
It'll happen.
But if you're willing to do it, those mental constructs are forced to go away. You break them down, and now the big joke for me, I've had people say to me, are you the dance instructor? You're such a natural. I'm like, are you kidding? You didn't see me for 4 years when people were laughing at me. But it changed my personality. It made me so much freer. And so what
And you
is
did
it?
it.
What's your thing? Everybody's got a thing that they can say, I know, maybe now's my time to do it. And it may be something so outside the box. But go take that path. Go run with it, and sometimes maybe you have to crawl with it, but the process will break you down, help you experience the inner self or the calling that you have, and it will break you through so many barriers, and you will be a person that will help other people feel inspired to take their
There is
power
so
back.
much truth to that. And
Yes.
Cher, you mentioned one of my favorite words that I learned from you at your breakfast, your coaching sessions, your talks, and all of that was the word competition. The word competition, that should be also banned, because guess what?
Yeah.
Because I'm a better dancer than Maura.
Especially when you do the machine gun kicks.
That's right.
But
No, but
it's-
that's the whole thing.
I agree.
Is
That's
if
such
if you,
wisdom.
it doesn't matter what you do. If you dance and you enjoy it, so who cares?
It doesn't-
Really?
it doesn't
Who
matter.
cares
And
if
that's the
Maura's better than I am? Who cares?
And that's
if,
the comparison
you know-
thing.
But what
People
Cher-
feel like that they
Exactly.
need to compare, like I need to be outside like that.
Because they were
and you
taught.
don't. You
But
need
they-
to be yourself.
But they, thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what I was getting to.
Yeah.
That's what I got from you when we had
Yeah.
these conversations
Yeah.
about, you remember,
Collaboration
and all that. And this is what hit me, and I'm going to repeat this. Word for word that you said this is, nobody can do what you can do, Barbara, or what Kelly can do, my husband,
Right.
the way you do it.
Right.
That's
I want you to
exactly right.
really think about that. Take some time, sit back and think
Yeah.
about, what do you do that nobody
But
else
nobody
can do?
else can do.
Everything, because they're not you.
That's right.
And that was a game changer for me, because when you're in business, we all have done this, all of us. And then you've got social media to boot, to the point where our children are committing suicide because they're not getting as many likes as somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what? That's bullshit. It is. I said it. It is. And it's unacceptable.
Well,
and so
it's-
what you said
yeah.
to me that day was, it was so strong, and it's always stayed with me. So when I hear somebody talk about competition, I go, okay, there's no competing.
Right.
There's no competing.
Right, I
And
agree. That's why you ended up with the group of women you
Oh, my
did.
gosh.
Because you would say this very frequently, there is no competition. We're all collaborators. We all help each other. I wrote a book about competition, and you know what? And I was never a competitor. I can't stand it. And so you know what I wrote in the book? The only person you should ever compete with is yourself.
Self.
Right.
You know what it is? It's like,
do better.
what was I
Yes.
yesterday? What
Yeah.
am I facing
Yes.
today? How can I be a better, more authentic, higher version of myself? And then guess what? You're happy. You're happy because you're happy on the inside. It's like,
Yes.
I keep growing. I
Yes.
keep expanding. I keep feeling more and more like my authentic version.
Or just allow yourself to explore a little bit
Yes.
on what might be out there.
Right.
You know what? You don't think you may be even interested in something, but you allow yourself to do some self-discovery, or to, tackle a subject that you really don't know a lot about, but you just allow yourself to just, try things
Throw
out that
all
you've never done
caution.
away. Yeah, because
Yes.
I think too, like what you were saying, is that people look back on their past sometimes, which becomes the block, because we know things that have happened to us, or made a mistake, but we're not our mistakes. We have to blossom and allow ourselves to, just achieve different small little things, in the gratitude of, what we really appreciate. And it brings your energy up. And I think a lot of people are too hard on themselves. I used to
I
say this
totally
a lot.
agree. I totally
and that can hold people back from, wanting to just get out there and explore, or maybe even, like I said, unite with like mind or light workers, where people are looking more into positive things in life. Like we were
Exactly.
saying, like through this, so many questions, like with healthcare, where you might say, well, let me take responsibility for my health. Let me see what alternatives are out there. I think this is happening now.
It's happening
you know.
more and more. We were talking about dance, and it's funny because growing up being told that I wasn't good enough, not by my mom, but my biological dad. We've all talked about that in the past, but if you missed the show. And I thought, gosh, I get asked to do this Dancing with the
Yeah.
Local Stars, right? Not once,
We
but
were there.
twice. I know.
Right.
You
I
were
feel
all
I
there.
interviewed you for that. With
I
your
know
cute
you
son.
did. That was wonderful. But when I went into the school to learn the lessons, it was the first one with David. You missed that one, but you came to the second one, because 4 weeks later I was asked to do another Dancing with the Local Stars with another community, And I'm going, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I did. But when I went to get the lessons, I said to David, I go, this was from the real Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah.
their routine. And one of them was a high kick. Do you remember that? That was the one that, tell me.
I do. No, I do.
we were there.
I remember that.
I told
Wow.
David, I go,
I'll never do that. What? I'll never be able to?
you expect me to do that? Do you realize how old I am? And then I go, wipe that off. Just
That's
stop
exactly
that.
right.
And you know, I did that high kick, and he picked me up and spun me around there. I thought I was
And
going
you
to
were
see stars.
fabulous.
It was amazing, even with the
It was
Janet.
amazing.
Even with the Janet Jackson moment with the top. I don't know. Did you guys see that? Did you even see that?
no.
Oh yeah. See?
See?
The show must go on. My fringes got caught up in his outfit. And we're both sitting there trying to get my fringes. We're connected, like an umbilical cord, right?
Oh, my.
But the show must go on, so off we went, and we came unconnected. Maybe that was you, God, that did that. We still got 3 9s.
I know.
Still got 3
We were there.
9s. But I never, ever would have done that if it wasn't for the PACE and the Junior Service League. I wouldn't have done that on my own.
cause, right?
I
So
did that
you-
for
it's a little-
somebody else. And I really did dance my little feet off, because what we were supposed to do is get donations for it, right? And I understand how all these things evolve. But the bottom line is at first I didn't know if I could do that. And then I changed my
Your
thought
thinking,
process.
right.
I just changed it and
That's
did
it.
it. And as I look back, I thought, I did something for humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I took a gift that was gifted me.
And you stretched yourself.
I did. That's exactly
You
what I-
allowed yourself to try
That's
something
exactly-
that was challenging.
I know.
And you succeeded.
And there's no way you'll ever know how many people you inspired by
That's-
doing that.
that's
So I'm
exactly
sitting
right.
here and thinking about that. I mean, I don't know if the Pace girls were there. I don't know who was there, but you did this twice. You had interviews. We talked about it on the show. So there's no way for us to know how many people you inspired by doing that. And I started to say women, but it could be women and men. How many people started dance class? How many people felt like they could reach out like you did? How many people felt like they could maybe even do something that you'll never know? Another fundraiser for maybe they did a fundraiser for PACE that you don't even know anything about, but they did it because you did that.
Well, you know, and a lot of people, I mean, everybody knows my age. I just turned 73. But you still are a little older. I just wanted to
I know.
add that.
Thank you for sharing that.
But we are the perfect 10, because 7 and 3 is what? 10. So we're the perfect 10 year. Right? Yes,
I
ma'am.
waited
something
this
that-
long to get there.
No, but the energy, you were talking about the energy or the aura.
Yes,
or turning
and
up
it's tangible. People
yes,
feel it.
and turning up the light, shining brighter. It sounds like it's an inspiration, but it is motivation when you hear those words, because it tells you that, there's more. And that I think that's what we're all kind of gathering and feeling attracted to, find people that, that are shining, have light, have confidence, because especially when we've all been through, so much uncertainty and self-doubt. And now the answer is, listen to the tap, like you were saying, and believe in yourself and go in, push through the fear and find your faith of self too, because then we can connect, to the divine energy and in our belief systems. But
Absolutely.
I think people that lose that faith, or they don't know where to turn, or they have too much negativity, it's like that dark shadow self kind of, comes and encompasses your life.
So true.
And then, or too much news on the TV.
Too much news will change it right
yes.
there. Oh,
so
my
you have to
goodness.
really know there is a polarity, of,
But
the
if you're
light to
having
the
that,
dark.
reach out. Reach out
Yes,
to someone
that's
who
right.
motivates you. Reach out to someone who is the light in your life. Reach
That's
out
right.
to a Shar or to a Barbara, to a Maura. Reach out,
Yes.
because the fact is that's what we're here for. We are here in this studio. We are here on this earth to be light and love.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're here for. So if
That's
you
right.
don't feel that you're in a place of light and love, reach out,
That's right.
because it's there. It's here for the giving, and we share. we share freely.
You know, that I just love to just sit and listen to what everybody's bringing here today, because you're so right, Helena, is we are using this platform for all of this.
That's right.
And I mean, I'm working at home because my friend asked me to help her out. And I know, and I shared this at the church service yesterday, I know that that's part of the vessel. I am doing God's work with this job that I'm doing.
Absolutely.
I'm praying with these patients.
Yeah.
And I never did that ever before. I did it quietly, like for my viewers at HSN, or I would, you know, show empathy with them when they'd call up and they're just had, you know, breasts removed in the middle of the night, and they'd shop with me and all that. But I never actually sat and prayed with patients like I'm doing now. And I know that this is a good thing, and I know there's more to come. Like when you were saying when you get the tap in the shoulder, one of my wake-ups in the morning at 3 o'clock was, you need to start a church. And I'm going,
And when
really?
you're thinking about this, right?
At first.
Yes.
But then I thought,
That's
I
what
get
it
it.
means.
We're doing church. We're doing
That's right.
church right here.
That's exactly
We're
right.
doing church right here.
You know, what if this whole thing, and this picks up here, what if this whole thing we're all going through is actually bringing us back to the beginning? If you want to think about Adam and Eve, do you think they went into a building for church? It says Adam and Eve talked to God every day in the middle of the garden.
They needed to go somewhere for church after biting that apple.
Oh, well, this is before the apple. But even after the apple, God came after them. But what if all of this stuff that's really breaking down, we have governments breaking down, we have institutions breaking down.
That's right.
We have everything breaking down, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. But what if after all of these so-called man-made things are breaking down, we end up exactly where we started,
Exactly.
which is at the place where we have this connection with
That's
Creator.
right.
Yes,
Because
yes.
we don't need the priests. We don't need
Beautiful.
somebody to confess our sins to. We don't need to check with what some expert out there told us we need to
That's
think.
right.
But we actually
you.
have
There we
this
go.
ongoing communication. That's what I see happening right now. And I
I do
see a
too.
lot
Yes.
of, could I say courageous, maybe curious, maybe visionary, optimistic people. They're all finding new things
That's
to do.
right.
They're
Yes.
finding new ways to do it through a lot of the challenges.
Yes.
And as one world is falling apart, a new one is
That's exactly.
appearing.
Oh,
but you have to
yes.
have eyes to see it.
You
but
have
it's
to, yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
It's everywhere.
It is
It's new
everywhere.
ways to do things.
It is
Your new
everywhere.
church. I didn't mean to interrupt. You
No,
wanna
no, no.
Share with that.
No, it's good because, you know,
Yeah.
I do the chamber show, and I interview a lot of business owners. And you would not believe, all through COVID, people were opening up new businesses,
Yeah.
thriving and striving their
That's right.
businesses, and I thought everything was all shut down. We're at Gulfview Square Mall. It's still open. You can
Yes.
still come here to shop. I was shocked. I thought it was all closed up because everybody's shopping on the internet and the A word. You know.
But that's what it is about, seeing what those new things are, what are the possibilities, what are the options. Because when you don't know what the options are, that's where we lose faith, or we become disconnected.
Yeah.
And you become disconnected, you know, you get swallowed up with the fears or with the worry habits and things like that. And then it's not good. It doesn't make us feel good.
No, and then
And
you go
so when
around,
we,
it's like-
yeah, so like you said, use this platform, or we get together in groups, but it's really to inspire and lift one another, because the ones that don't get it, you know, that's where we can share the tools, the inspiration, and where to go to feel better, you know, to do better.
Yeah.
But really, it's unlimited possibilities.
It is.
You know,
Infinite.
unlimited, infinite.
Absolutely.
So
You
we don't
guys are
have to be
awesome.
shrunk down. We need to think, you know, grow big, grow large into the world, and reach out and try to inspire. But you know, if I need to be lifted, I know I can call one of you. if I'm having a bad day, you know, we can you know, look for other ways. Even put on a good movie. Watch what we're bringing in to our body systems.
That's true.
And so we do take that responsibility too.
There's so much that we can do. I think
Yeah.
some people might feel like they want to give up. I know. 2
Wow,
minutes.
did that
Are you
go
kidding
fast?
me?
Wow.
Seriously, are you kidding? I truly hope that you tuning in today, we've all said something, or maybe you'll just take that one thing away from our show, just that one little piece that maybe hit that button, and it was an aha moment for you, because it's the aha moments where we can get some of our best, our greatest ideas, and allow us to come from within And that's what we're here to do, is to give you that chance to know that you have the power. You have the energy. And if you want to take it back, if you feel like you've lost it, I can guarantee you every one of us have felt like we've been in emotional prison over this last year and a half. Even if it was under 2 minutes. The golden rule, don't go past 2 minutes on negative thoughts, because it will put 5 to 6 hours of bad chemicals in your system. And that alone will reduce your immune system. And right now, that's something we have to build. Build it with love and caring and with friends and family. And know that you have the power from within to change your life and really change it forever. We have 1 minute. Give me a few seconds, your best shot.
I just think we need to recognize when we need help, like you were saying, if somebody needs help to lift us up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I will say, love one another, be happy, and know that there is that miracle out there that can change your life. Maura?
And I would say, somebody who's been sitting there today listening, thinking, what does this mean for me? What if that idea or that vision or that thought has been with you for years? Now's the time to put it into action, because the world needs you.
And I'll follow up on that and just saying, I know you may not see the path. I know you may not see the end game. Step out in faith.
Step out in faith. That is so wonderful. I want to thank you for joining us. We're always here. Well, we like to think we're here in spirit every last Monday of the month, and we're all going to try to do that continually whenever we're all available. And so many things. You can write each one of us on Facebook, but in the meantime, I want to thank you. God bless each and every one of you, and we're going to seal this with a kiss. Ready, girls? Mwah!